Hello everybody, welcome to another Ask a Bhante. So we have a question from Cindy. She had a question from Monday morning's, the thought of the day from Morning Monastery Experience. It had to do with impermanence and refuge. We were talking about going for the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha for refuge, but you can't go for refuge to something that is impermanent. The Dhamma is permanent, right? And the Buddha? So, this is an interesting question. Everything that is conditioned, sabba sankhara anicca, all conditioned things are impermanent. That's what the Buddha tells us. Sabba sankhara anicca. There is one thing that is beyond, that is the unconditioned. That is nibbana. Right? When an awakened being is in their last body and they have parinibbana, the flame has gone out, the fire is extinguished, all has been unraveled. So you can't really speak of them in conventional terms. Permanent, impermanent, existing, not existing, these kind of things. So everything else is impermanent. But this Dhamma, the Buddha tells us that this Dhamma, whether a Tathagata arises in the world, this nature of reality is there. This Dhamma is always there. The Buddha is impermanent. The Buddha came, now he's gone. The Sangha are impermanent. Men and women who have attained at least stream entry, they're here, and many of them are also gone. But the Dhamma is always there. Because the Dhamma is intricately interwoven into the nature of reality. It is the nature of reality. So this Dhamma is always there. Even if there's no Buddha there, it's been lost. The knowledge of it has been lost. Even still, the Dhamma is there. Because it is both the nature of existence and the teaching. It's there waiting to be found again. Like the Buddha uses the example of like somebody who is going down a path and sees a fork and sees a grown over path and finds an old city and goes back to the king and says, rebuild this wonderful city. This is a wonderful, you can tell this was a great city in the past. It had wonderful walled gardens and such and such. And so then the king does rebuild it. And so the Buddha says, just so, this is how I found this Noble Eightfold Path, this Dhamma. So this is something to be understood. And everything, it is the Dhamma itself that shows us, that tells us that we can see for ourselves. The Dhamma is ehipasako, opanayako, calling one to come and see, akaliko, directly visible, timeless. You can see these. It's there for us. But we have to be able to have eyes to see it. We can just go about our daily life and not see it. This is why it can be so hard, so subtle to be able to see the true nature, that when there's not a Buddha there, nobody sees it. But it's there. It doesn't go away. And so, this is one of the jokes that I make a lot when talking about going for refuge. The Buddha is telling us Just making sure I'm getting everything from the question here. All right, so the Buddha is telling us, really, when we go for refuge, what we're going for refuge for is the fact that there's no refuge. There's no escape. Buddha tells us the only safety, the only security is Nibbana. That's it in this world. You can pray to the Buddha all you want. You can, ask him to come help you. That's not how it goes. That's not how it works. This is, you can't escape the nature of the existence that you're in. The nature of the existence that you're in is that everything is anicca. Everything is undependable. Everything is unstable. Everything is impermanent. No matter what it is, if you grasp onto it, you hold on to it, that's something that you like, hoping that it'll stay there, wishing for it to not change, it's unstable, it's undependable, it's going to change. This is nature. This is the way it is. This is how we cause our own suffering. This is why the Buddha tells us we cause our own suffering and we have the ability to end our own suffering. It's literally within our grasp to be able to do that. So when you go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, you're going for refuge to the fact that there's no refuge. The only refuge, the only true refuge, is the abandoning, the escaping of the samsaric state. Abandoning of our ignorance, of our thirst, our craving, tanha. Abandoning these things, letting go. Becoming one of the awakened ones. That is the only true security. That is the only true refuge. That is the only true safety. Buddha tells us this quite clearly in the suttas many times. So, yes, when you go for refuge, you're going for refuge to the fact that there's no refuge. The Buddha is impermanent. The Sangha is impermanent. Knowledge of the Dhamma is impermanent. But the Dhamma is the nature of reality. It's the nature of existence. It's there. Sabba sankhara anicca, sabba sankhara dukkha. All conditioned things are dukkha when held onto, when clung, when viewed with delusion. And sabbe dhamma anatta. All dhammas, meaning all phenomena, not even Nibbana itself, nothing, the Buddha is very clear in telling us there's nothing that is self. There's soullessness. There's no soul anywhere. There's nothing that is self. Buddha's very clear in that because it's our tendency is to find a self somewhere. Well, there's not a self here, but then there's got to be a self over there. So yeah, when we go for refuge, we are going for refuge to the fact like this is the raft. The world is the crazy stream. The world is the broiling ocean. The raft is our path. The raft is our ability to cross the stream. The raft is security only in the fact that it's helping you lead towards the true security. But the raft is impermanent too. The raft gets holes. It starts sinking a little bit. You have to patch it up. This is the nature. This is the nature of reality. This is how things go. So, but you can't go for refuge to something that is impermanent. Okay, so I think I pretty much answered that. Yes, you can go for refuge to the Buddha. There's a lot to learn from the Buddha. But the refuge is not in him as some kind of savior or protector. The refuge is in that the teachings lead to true security from bondage. Right? The path that you must take, the training that you must undertake, the choices that you must make, that is what leads you to true security, true refuge. The refuge in the cleansed mind, the mind free from greed, hatred, and delusion. That is the true security, the true refuge. Until then, we take refuge in the fact that there's no refuge. We take refuge in the teacher, the teachings, and those who have followed the teachings. The teachings lead towards Nibbana. The teachings lead towards letting go. The teachings lead toward awakening, freedom, true refuge, true security. Until then, we are swept up in the storm, adrift on the ocean, trying to grasp onto things that are unstable and undependable, hoping that they're stable and dependable so that we can lift ourselves out of the water until they break and you fall right back in the water again. That is the nature of the samsaric state. That is the nature of this world where all is impermanent. All is unsatisfactory. All is not self. That's the nature of this world. So when you start to really see that with wisdom and insight, then you really know, well, there's nothing worth it staying around in this place. Let's get the heck out of here. You know, like that old song from the 60s, we got to get out of this place if it's the last thing we ever do. Right? Then you say, oh, okay, yeah, no, this is good. We're done. I'm done. Let's practice the Noble Eightfold Path and get out of here. So I think that covers pretty much everything with the question, Cindy. Thank you for submitting this question. And if you, anybody listening to this has a question that will be good for me to answer for themselves or for other people who will be looking at the channel in years to come, then please put the question in the comments below, or you can send me an email. All right, friends, Sukhi Hotu, may you be happy, practice well and be well. May you have a spiritually successful and peaceful practice until the next time we meet.